In this video, you're going to see Cliff get his laughable argument about moral relativism, and then I'll give you my response.
Because I know you're saying materialism, I get that. But materialism is on the other end of those who defend the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the values and principles that this country was founded on, right? One has to agree to make it secular. Who was that? When did it happen? What was the reasoning why we shifted away from God?
Well, after speaking on campuses for 42 years, what I have observed is a growth in moral relativism. And that growth in moral relativism has gotten to the point today where choice is often God. And don't you dare tell me what I'm going to choose. My choice is my business, and choice is God. And that defines then, it misdefines freedom as being, I do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And don't you or God or anybody else tell me what to do, because that's the antithesis of freedom. So there's a misdefinition of freedom, and yet it's very attractive to me as a human being, because I love to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And God, I don't want you telling me what to do.
First of all, Cliff, the problem is not moral relativism. You're the problem. You not being able to evolve because you choose not to is the problem. But because of moral relativism, this nation has evolved in numerous ways. I'll give you an example. Before 1993, for most states, you were allowed to rape your wife. One of the only states who had created a law against this was Nebraska in 1991. But predominantly most states for centuries would allow marriage or rape. It was exempt. You couldn't call the cops and say, hey, my husband raped me, because there was no such thing as your husband raped you. You were his property. Fast forward 2024, you can't do that anymore. At that point, prior to 1993, the majority of the nation, they were Christians and they did nothing about it. So having a more secular country does create a sort of balance in which we can eradicate problems like marriage or rape. Okay, Cliff, look at the Bible. 10 Commandments, y'all shall not murder. Well, who has caused the most murder in the Bible? God. God himself tells the Israelites to go kill other tribes. So truth is relative, depending who's telling you to do it, depending the time in history that you're experiencing the event. So good and bad has never been absolute. Slavery was okay. Now it's not. Cliff, you gotta have a little bit of common sense before you speak on podcasts, because you're not making any sense. Yes, truth has always been relative. Good and bad is dependent upon the interpretation of the individual.
Well, I pray we're not going to stay there.
Okay.
But relativism has definitely grown. And the illustration I often use is, if the professor at the beginning of a semester says to the students, you're going to be taking tests and I'm going to be grading these tests. And then he pauses and says, but wait a second, do you think truth is relative? And everybody raises their hand and says, oh yes, truth is relative. And he says, fine, when I grade your tests, I'm going to grade them according to height. And everyone goes, whoa. And he says, the tall people are going to get the Fs and the shortest people are going to get As. And everyone erupts by saying, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. He says, wait a second. You told me everything's relative. If everything's relative, there's no such thing as fairness as an objective value. It's all relative.
Oh, Cliff, thank you for giving us your stupid example. No one is saying that you should break the law. Moral relativism is not go out there and do whatever you want. We have to follow the law. But once you follow the law, you do as you please. You want to cut off your penis? That's your problem. You want to have multiple wives? That's your problem. Multiple girlfriends? That's your problem. So long you're not breaking the law, yes, you should have freedom. You should be able to do whatever you want, so long I'm not hurting you, so long I am following society's rule. Not your view of reality, because your view of reality is irrelevant to me. That's your problem. No one wants a Christian nation anymore, because we have more problems when we have a Christian nation. We have more balance when we have a secular nation. A more secular nation is more inclusive. In 1993, Bill Clinton passed the do not ask, do not tell rule, meaning that you could join the military and be gay, you could join the military and be a lesbian, but you have to keep it to yourself, because if you didn't, you would be discharged. Now fast forward again, you can't do that anymore. So moral relativism is amazing. We get to evolve, but I understand because you're a fundamentalist and you don't like to evolve. You want to stay the same forever. But that's your problem. Keep your problems to yourself, Cliff.